Good evening, everyone, and tonight's blog is entitled Perceptions, and what I mean by that is I like to know, why do we perceive people to be the way that we are? I mean, honestly, all too often we make the call on how somebody seems to be before we even know that person, right? So why do we do that? What drives us to decide that that's how that person is? I have to say, I went out with my friend tonight to kind of I don't know, I guess maybe a social exercise to see differences and kind of observe this behavior within itself. I mean, we went to a bar tonight, and what I wanted to see was the differences in between the people who had just arrived there, the people who had not been drinking yet, who had not had the alcohol in their system, how they seemed to look at other people who had already had the alcohol in their system, and then vice versa, the people who had already had the alcohol in their system, how they look at the people who hadn't. It's really kind of an interesting experiment to see, and you'd have to be there to really appreciate the concept, I guess. But what I did notice is that the people who had already been drinking for a while and had the alcohol in their system and had it time to settle and get them into the mode that they were in, was that they had pretty much just kind of lost all real care and reservation or worry about their actions. And I'm not saying all of them, but the mass majority had. You know, when they do this, people start swearing and egging on fights, and this was just some of the behaviors that I noticed tonight. Now, on the other hand, the people who had not been drinking kind of sheltered themselves in a corner until they had gotten that, I don't know, I guess, I don't know what you'd call it, like the alcoholic courage, um, until it had hit their system, until they were at the point in which they could release some inhibitions. So, what I pose as the question is alcohol responsible for these reactions? Or are they reactions that we already have within ourselves that we just want to release but can't release without a little help? Not necessarily that that's the fact, but seems to be the fact that we are aware of thus far. Like we're capable of releasing these inhibitions and talking to people. Guys can walk up to a girl and talk to a girl, or girls can walk up to a guy and talk to a guy. It's a new millennium, people. But why do we wait until after we've had some drinks in our system, some alcohol in our system? Excuse me, I might sneeze. I apologize. That's why I don't go to bars too often. Well, and I don't really care to drink, but the smoke in there, I don't smoke, and it gets into my head, and I end up sneezing out. Anyways, that's besides the point. Let's refocus here. Anyhow, so why do we wait for the alcoholic courage to kick in? Why can't we just do it on our own? Why don't we take the steps necessary? Like tonight, I have a friend I went out with. I'm not going to say his name because, let's face it, he probably wouldn't appreciate that, and I'm not willing to sell anybody down the river like that. But I'm just going to say, we went to a bar tonight, and I was observing, and this is a person who's pretty set in their ways. I mean, he believes that his life is what he creates it to be, which, by the way, everybody, we create what we want to happen, or we create what we don't want to happen. This has been a proven fact in my life, I know. But for the confidence that he has in the fact that he can create whatever situation he wants to happen, it's the talking to the opposite sex that kind of binds him. And this is a very interesting situation for me, because while I'm not the man of the hour or super sexual whatever, you know what, I know I'm not a good looking guy, but I can talk to girls. I can flirt and I can have fun and I can enjoy myself. The difference is I'm confident in that as far as I'm confident in every other aspect of my life. But I've just been built to that by the experiences that I've had. Now this guy has had some experiences that were probably not so savory, for lack of better terminology. And so I observed him for a while. I observed everybody in the bar for a while. Until finally, like, my head couldn't take the barroom smoke and junk anymore. And then I had to leave. I couldn't really breathe anymore. But, I observed as long as I could. And, you know, I want to take a concept that I once heard Tony Robbins say. If you're tired of the way your life is, if you want to change your situation, then it's up to you to do it. And you'll do it irregardless of whether or not you just have the final drive. You're at the last straw. No more nerves, no more anything. You just finally throw in the towel and say, I've got to hit the fence and do this, or not do this. And you've got to decide, is it going to be more painful later on down the road to not talk to somebody who could be a prospective love interest later on down the road, somebody who could really complete your inner self? Or do you deal with less pain at the moment and just kind of walk away? But you walk away regretting, and you walk away not knowing. So why don't we talk to those people? And I urge you all, if there's somebody out there you see that you like, or that you think you may like, but you don't even know yet, take a step. See, I've kind of developed a personal little mantra for myself. The progress that I make is equal to the amount of steps that I am willing to take. And if I want my situation to change, I have to be the one to make the change. I have to stand up and say, I'm tired of how things are, and I want something different. And I have to make something different come from it. So, what I ended up doing tonight, ultimately, I tossed him a couple dollars on the bar, 'cause dollar beers for him, threw him a couple bucks. I said, hey, look, I've got work to do, which I'm here doing now. I've got to do my blogs, but you have a life to live, so live it. And so with that, I kind of left him there at the bar. Don't worry, he lives within walking distance, probably a block, maybe 2 blocks away, so I'm not concerned about that. I will, however, I really will go back and check on him later. But I want to hear feedback on you guys. Perceptions. Why do we see people the way we see them? Why do we look at a woman who's beautiful and obviously has personality that we desire in our lives and say, out of my league, before you even talk to her? And the same with a guy. Women, why do you look at a guy and say, wow, that is a handsome man? He's either got to be, married, have a supermodel girlfriend, or be gay. I mean, there's so many different... And don't look at that as rude. I mean, I'm just saying that there's a lot of different avenues that we take to talk ourselves out of where we want to be in life. And I urge you all to stop talking yourselves out of things. With that, I leave you with that thought. More to come later, I promise. We'll talk to you then. Until then, take care of each other, help each other, love each other, and always touch a life, touch the world. You're beautiful. We'll see you later.